As we continue here on Box to Row, interestingly enough, this weekend's SIAC championship game matchup and the CIAA championship game matchup are really matchups of two teams that have played earlier in the season. And we're going to go, as a matter of fact, and talk with Sam Shade, the head football coach at Miles. Look, the Golden Bears, winners of their last 8 games, as a matter of fact, including the victory over Tuskegee. And once again, Miles back in the SIAC championship game. But for the first time, Sam Shade as the head football coach of the Golden Bears joining us here on the program. What's going on, Coach Shade? Welcome back to the program.
D. Ware, I'm glad to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. I mean, I got to start a big-time crowd at Tuskegee. That Miles-Tuskegee game always ends the season, always a big-time crowd. This was the case on Saturday. Your thoughts on the 37-7 victory by your team over Tuskegee?
Well, first off, I do want to say our heart and prayers go out to Tuskegee, the university, and the city for what happened later on that night, in the late hours that night. Just very unfortunate incident. So our prayers are with Tuskegee and the victims and their families for what happened. But earlier that day, it was a great atmosphere for college football, just really electric as far as the crowd. It was just a festive event, and our team, our guys were really excited to go down there and play. And it's like when Tuskegee and Miles play, it's like Alabama State A&M, Alabama, Auburn, Grambling, Southern, you name it. It's that type of a game, just very exciting.
Yeah, you know a little bit about that Alabama and Alabama-Auburn game. You know a little bit about that as well. We could talk a little bit more about that later on. 8 straight wins. You start the season off tough loss, to start the season. Then the game against Alabama State, another tough loss, but you've reeled off 8 straight. Why is your team playing so well? What's the difference? I mean, the opponents obviously would make a big impact in terms of the first 2 games, but what's different about this team over the last 8 games?
Well, really, you start off with West Alabama, and we lose that game by 1 point. They kick a field goal at the end of the game, so we felt like that was a game that we could have easily won, and some of our guys feel like we should have won that ball game, but we didn't. And then we go to Alabama State, which is us going up, playing a team. We're D2, they're 1AA. And so that was a ball game. We had a lot of young guys that were playing in that game. And we feel like that was a game that some of our guys had to grow up in. So the next week we get the bye week. And the bye week is where we felt like the change happened. We went back to our basics, went back to our fundamentals, really tried to lay the foundation for the rest of the season. And we felt like we did that on both sides of the ball. And that's really it. It really, I can't say it's anything, that hadn't happened at other places. But, our guys just got locked in during that bye week, and we came out of that bye week ready to roll.
Sam Shade, again, in his 3rd season as the head football coach at Miles. He joins us here on Box to Row. The Golden Bears and Clark Atlanta going to meet in the SIAC championship game on Saturday. This rushing attack you have is averaging 207 yards rushing or more than that per game. Speak to this, speak to that rushing attack, and you're really putting it on teams in the run game.
Well, we're blessed. We're blessed up front on our offensive line. We've got a few guys up there that have played a lot of football. Some of our seniors, guys like Christian Twyman and Jason Stovall up front. Those are our leaders, and they do a great job in the running game. And also they've done a great job of protecting our quarterback in the passing game this year. But we're also blessed with a stable of really good running backs, starting with Gennaro Scott. He's our top back, and we've got some guys behind him. He actually got hurt early in the season and missed about 5 games, and we got him back the Morehouse game. But the guys that filled in for him, they did a really good job. One kid, Javante Leatherwood, actually 9 touchdowns on the season at running back, filling in for Gennaro. And then there's some other guys, Ed Osley and Rod Thomas, that have done a good job for us. So we've really had a next man up mentality this season because we lost our starting quarterback for a couple games. We lost a couple offensive linemen for some games, our starting tight end. Really, this is my third year here, and as far as injuries, this has been the worst year for us as far as injuries. But what's been special is to see guys step up and have that next man up mentality. And we really hadn't really had big drop-offs when we've gone to the next guy.
I looked at this and I'm like, LaShawn Young, your DB's got 7 interceptions. 3 of those are pick sixes. As a team, you have 4 returns for touchdowns. Now, you were a good player in the National Football League. Like, are you coaching LaShawn Young personally? Like, he's got 7 interceptions, 3 pick sixes.
Well, no, I'm the head coach, so I can't, just take one position. But no, that's a credit to our defensive back coaches. Coach Chris Shelling, actually our defense coordinator, he coaches the safeties. Chris played at Auburn when I played at Alabama, and we actually were rookie safeties together in Cincinnati. And he does a really good job, not only coordinating our defense, but also with our safeties. And he and Coach Antonio Langham actually coach our secondary together. And those guys do a really good job. And I'm just glad to have both of them on staff.
Pam Shade, again, the head football coach at Miles, joins us here on the program. And I mean, I looked at this. Okay, during the 8-game winning streak, I mean, you're beating some team. Albany State's good. Clark Atlanta, who you're going to play. I mean, all teams are good, but you know what I mean? They were one of the teams still in contention. Clark Atlanta's in the SIAC championship game. Tuskegee still had a shot, at the end. But that game against Clark Atlanta in Atlanta, you won that football game 49 to 28. What kind of football team does Clark Atlanta have?
Clark Atlanta's got a really good football team. They're led by Coach Teddy Keaton. He's been a head coach for a long time. Really good offensive coach as far as coordinating their offense. And also on the other side of the ball, they've got a really good defensive coordinator, guy that I call him the legend, L.C. Cole, man. He's been a lot of places, played at Nebraska. He's coached in the Big Ten. He's been a lot of places. So they've got a really good staff, and they do a good job. In that first ball game, we kick off to them. They go all the way down the field. They score on us early. And the thing that our team has done all season, nobody batted an eye. Nobody pointed the finger at each other. There was no cussing and fussing at each other. It was just, okay, let's just do what we do. Let's keep playing. And we kept playing. And then we look up and it's 35-7. Now, there were some plays that went our way. Obviously, we had a couple interceptions with big returns. We blocked a punt during that time. We had 1 interception for a touchdown. So it's really been a team effort for us going back to that Clark Atlanta game. But they kept fighting. They kept fighting. They actually fought back into the ball game, put up 28 points on us. So it wasn't just some people might think we ran away with it, but those guys, they kept fighting, and they're very explosive on offense, and they actually outgained us on offense, had more yards than we did.
Sam Shade, the head football coach at Miles, joining us here on the program. It takes time to build a program. So maybe not the best year, your first year, 7-3 last year, 8 straight wins, 8-2 record, SIAC championship game in year 3. Can you speak to how you've been able, you and your staff, and how you've been able to build this program?
Well, first off, my hat goes off to my staff. We've got a really good coaching staff. They love working together. They love and enjoy working with our student athletes. And first off, I feel like they do a really good job of mentoring our guys, not just on the field, but off the field. And for myself, I tell people all the time, when I'm hiring coaches, the one thing I say to myself, would I want this guy coaching one of my 2 sons? I've got 2 sons. So if I can't answer that question with yes, then that's not the guy that's going to be on our staff. And there are a lot of good football coaches out there that can coach. But, I feel like that you've got to give these guys more than just the X's and O's and the drill work and all that stuff. So I just feel like our players are blessed to have the coaching staff we've got. We got some guys that really care about what they're going to be doing after they leave Miles College.
Last thought, Coach Shea, we appreciate the time. You're from Birmingham. You played at Alabama. You played some years in the NFL, including for my team, the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders. And now you're coaching. You're back in Alabama, coaching at Miles, having success. How much fun are you having?
Man, it's been a lot of fun. It really has, and the fun for me has been in watching our team come together and grow, and watching our guys have fun going out competing, not just in games but in practice. That's the part that's really been fun for me. But as a head coach, sometimes I don't get to enjoy it as much as maybe some other people, as far as the fans and maybe even the players, because, for instance, last week we're getting ready for Tuskegee, but we've got the conference championship game this week. We knew it was going to be at our place, so there was some planning and things that I had to do behind the scenes on that end, but not forget about the task at hand at that point, which was getting ready for Tuskegee. So that's why I say sometimes I don't get to enjoy it as much, because I'm always kind of working ahead sometimes.
Yeah. Sam Shade, again, third season as the head football coach at Miles, joining us here on Box to Row. The Golden Bears going to host the SIAC championship game against Clark Atlanta on Saturday. Game is televised, as a matter of fact, on ESPNU. Coach Shade, great to catch up with you again. Continued success to you and the Golden Bears.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.